This show is sponsored by Den 10 Insurance Services, helping businesses get the right insurance for all their insurance needs. Visit den10.io to get a quote. DENTEN.io. And remember, when you buy an insurance policy from Den 10, you're giving back on a global scale. Hello, all my entrepreneurs and business leaders, and welcome to the Michael Esposito Show, where I interview titans of industry in order to inform, educate, and inspire you to be great. My guest today is an inspiring woman who lost over 90 pounds. She now shares her story as a message of hope and to inspire others to live a healthy life. As a chemistry and physics teacher, she's inspiring her students to go after their dreams as well. Because she's not just solving equations and doing math experiments, she's also an actress and model. She just completed her second fashion show, and she already has appeared in a commercial and as a stand-in for the star of The Real Housewives of Miami. Please welcome teacher, actress, fashion model, and my new friend, Paulette Szalay. Welcome to the show, Paulette.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, this is pretty cool to have you on. We first met on the set of Michelle's show, which was really cool. Pretty cool experience getting to meet you in person a while back and hearing your story. And I remember when we met and hearing your story and you sharing the magazine that you're in, and we'll talk more about that and your journey. I was like, oh my goodness, I got to have this woman on. I don't know what she does. I don't know anything about her yet, but I know that her story is inspiring. And you shared a lot about that with us, about how your goal is to inspire others. And so I can't wait to learn more about your story and where you got started.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, my story starts about a year and a half ago. It was April 12th, 2022, to be exact. It was Easter Sunday. My family and I traveled to Florida. And what's Florida known for? Their beaches. And of course, we on Easter Sunday decided that morning we were going to go to the beach, Juno Beach. And we kind of sat around, just kind of taking it all in. And of course, everyone on the beach were from 0 age to 99 were wearing bathing suits, except for myself. I was not wearing a bathing suit. I was fully clothed from head to toe, because I was weighing at that time 252 pounds and only being 5 feet 4 inches. And so I was very self-conscious of myself in what I looked like and how I felt. It was really a dark time, at that moment. And, we were kind of sitting on the beach and I'm under the umbrella kind of looking around, and I'm like, wow, all these people are really enjoying the sun. They're enjoying the sand. They're enjoying the ocean. And you hear laughter and just, people enjoying themselves. And I was absolutely miserable. I was just underneath the umbrella, fully clothed, sweating. And I just said, you know what? I think this is it. I can't do this anymore. That was the first day, I believe, of the rest of my life. And so my mindset changed. It was just a snap, literally a snap. And I said, no, I am going to change. I can't have this. I want to be in a bathing suit. I want to be able to go swimming and enjoy, the water. I want to be able to lay out on a towel, in the sun, getting tan, in a bathing suit, not in dark clothing from, neck to socks. And so that's where it began, that day. And
I have a few questions for you in that story there. And I'm interested to go a little bit further back, actually. For a little context for our listeners, I am 5'10", and I weigh 180 pounds. I had a little bit of a weight loss journey myself, not as extreme as yours. I was at about 200 and I want to say 5 or 10 pounds. I think that was my more recent peak, I suppose. And that was about, I want to say a year and a half, maybe going on 2 years ago, that I had hit 210, call it. And I decided to start a diet of fasting and really, really enjoy it to the point where I continue it today, and really just it energizes me and everything. But really what I'm trying to provide here is some context for everybody in that I was at 210 and I'm 5'10", and I'm athletic, I play sports, I play basketball, I do all these other things, but I was feeling heavy. I was feeling self-conscious. And that's at 5'10", 210. You're 5 feet and you were at 250. And so I could only imagine how self-conscious you were at that time. What I know about myself is there was a journey that got me to the 210. There were habits that I had in place. There were things that I thought I couldn't get rid of. There were foods that I thought I couldn't get rid of. There was a lifestyle that I thought I couldn't change. And eventually, of course, with this major desire for myself to get fit and to get healthier, I was able to shed some of that. I'm interested in your story as to what were some of the things that you grew up with that maybe going back to your childhood were staples, comfort foods, comfort type of habits that you had to shift in this journey?
Absolutely. So I am Italian. And what do we, growing up back in the day, we grew up with pasta and bread. Those were our two staple foods, right? And so how I grew up was that you eat not just one bowl of pasta, you have two bowls of pasta, right? And then you put the ricotta and you put the cheese and you put, a side of fried eggplant on there. And you have your side of fried chicken cutlets. And that's a heavy, heavy meal.
Don't forget the bread to scoop it all up with.
The bread with the butter to scoop up the sauce and all of that great stuff, right? So the funny thing is, at European time on a Sunday would be at 3:00. That would be dinner. And so that was the time that we ate this big, heavy meal. And so that would be our meal for the rest of that day. But then there was pasta on Wednesdays, in the middle of the week. So what I didn't realize is my mindset growing up, being Italian, this is how we're supposed to eat. This is the right way to eat. But the pounds just started to continue to, I started to put on pounds accumulate as I got older. Right. And so, but I just continued to say, this is the right way. This is our culture. This is how we eat. My grandmother, if I went by her house and I didn't eat, it was like I committed a crime. You have to go and you have to eat, and you have to eat big. You can't just say, no, I'll have a salad. No, salad. What salad? Right.
There's a sense of pride, and I am half Italian, and I know exactly what you're talking about. There's a sense of pride, right? Of like, going for seconds. Oh, he's like for me as a guy, right? He's a growing boy, and you got to have that second bowl of pasta. You got to have those seconds. And like you said, if you don't eat their food, it's right. Insulting. It's
they get offended. They're offended.
Yes.
And manja, just keep eating.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to burst here. But that was our culture. That was my mindset. This is the right thing to do. If I don't do it, I'm gonna, and so I don't want to insult my grandmother. I can't do that, So, but as we got older, or as I got older, the metabolism started to slow down, and the weight was just not coming off. And later, to compound that, I have a thyroid issue as well. A low thyroid. So those combination of things, just the pounds just started to I started to gain weight. But then I started to just feel comfortable and say, I guess this is my way of life. This is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life. And I had that mindset for a very, very long time. But as I had that mindset, I just felt, really bad about myself, because I would run away from the mirror. Like, I would not even look at myself in the mirror. I would only look at myself in the mirror to put my makeup on real quick and then leave. It would never I was always in the dark, or I would always want to hide, or no pictures. I would never be in a family picture. I would be like either hiding in the back or to the side, or just waving, but never have.
Tell us about that feeling of comfort, because so many, this podcast is very oriented towards businesses and executives and entrepreneurs. And today we're talking about a personal story that has nothing to do with a business. It has nothing to do with being an executive or any of the sort. Yet it impacts every one of them, everyone who's listening, because we all deal with different types of hurdles in our health, in our weight, in the way we feel about ourselves. And then, of course, in the sense of being comfortable, in being in that space where we're just like, you know what, this is just my life. I'm not going to start that new business. This is just my life. I'm not going to go for that promotion. Or in what you're talking about is, this is just my life. I don't need to lose weight. I'm just going to continue this way. Share with us a little bit about the feelings in that comfort and why we lean into that when we're in that place.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, because I'm an educator, so I affect many, many lives, as children's lives, parent lives, colleagues who I work with. And so the confidence level started to dwindle, and I started to always second guess myself. Even though education's not really a business, in essence, it could be a business, right? It's within the classroom. So that operation itself, I started to second guess myself on my skills. And, the kids could be cruel. They would make fun of me all the time. Oh, here she comes, she's waddling through the hallway, or she's waddling through the classroom. Here she goes. I was always out of breath walking up the stairs, carrying books. It was just very, very difficult, for me. But I just felt complacent, and I just felt that this is the way my life is going to be, and that's it. I kept blaming my thyroid. I kept saying, "Oh, I have a thyroid problem. This is my problem." In the meantime, I'm still eating, eating the way I'm accustomed to eating. And then I would make excuses. There would be a lot of excuses. It's okay. I can go and have that, ice cream for dessert, or, just have one. I'll be okay. It's fine. Or, maybe I'll just have one bowl of pasta now, and then maybe I'll have another one later. I'll separate it and it'll be fine. Or I'll take the ricotta off, or I'll take the cheese off. These were all excuses that I was saying in my mind, how to justify, how I was feeling. But the sad part is that the more I kept justifying, the worse I was feeling about myself. And the more I kept eating. And the 252 pounds was like the most I had ever weighed in my entire life. And that was the breaking point where I couldn't, walk anymore. The acid reflux was horrible. I couldn't sleep at night. I literally had to sleep with 3 pillows, or sleep, on a wedge, in order for me to be able to sleep at night. And then many times I would wake up through the night and not get a great night's sleep at all. So it affected so many areas of my life. And, people kept saying to me, hey, why don't you try to lose a couple of pounds, Try to, just take it slow. Just take a couple of pounds. And I would lose maybe 5 pounds and then go right back to those old eating habits again. And it's definitely a mindset, because I try to, you can call it a diet, you can call it a life change, you can call it whatever you want. But if your mindset hasn't changed, you're not going to change. You're just going to revert back to that unhealthy lifestyle.
Yeah, there has to be a bigger desire in all of that. I'm very interested in what that is for you. And I know, just going back to my experience with it all, for me, there was a bigger desire. I weighed in at 210, and for me, one, I didn't feel healthy. And then two, I consider myself athletic. And I wasn't moving as fast as I wanted to move. And I know that I like to move fast. I like to be able, we were just talking about that before. I said, I'm the type of guy who flies by the seat of my pants. And so I like to be able to move fast. And so I had this bigger desire of, I play basketball. I want to be healthy to be able to play basketball and be able to run up and down the court and not feel winded. I want to be able to, of course, run with my girls and run with my kids and feel healthy and feel strong and feel good. And so I have this bigger desire. And so I'm interested with you in the mindset shift, because you said you tried other diets, you tried other ways of losing weight, and yet you went back to your old ways. And of course, it's a cycle, right? Because you're doing it, but you're not getting to where you want to be. And so you just don't feel good about yourself. So what's feeling good? A bowl of pasta. We're just using the bowl of pasta as, of course, our example for all the foods. So what was the bigger desire for you in all of this?
So I think the bigger desire was I needed to feel healthy, and I wanted to live a longer lifespan for my granddaughter, because I'm a grandmother. My granddaughter is going to be 10 years old this year, and I want to be able to see her, get married one day, and I want to have great grandchildren. So, and I want to be around them, and I said that day on the beach was the turning point for me, and I said, nope, I have to do something. This is it. I'm going to start, I'm going to just completely change my life. And I did say that I was going to, seek out maybe a surgeon and have the sleeve done just to get started with the weight loss and then kind of take it from there. And when I went back to Jersey, I started researching, healthy ways of losing weight, not using, any kind of medication or things of that nature. I wanted to do it naturally, but have the gastric sleeve to get started. And so I signed up at the gym, Planet Fitness, locally here in my town. And I'll never forget the first day that I went, because I'm here 252 pounds at 5 feet 4 inches, right? And so I'm the kind of person who would wear all kinds of wraps, right? So you can't see what my body looked like. And so there I am in these sweatpants, this huge sweatshirt, and I am going to go on the treadmill for the first time ever.
That's intimidating.
Very intimidating, right? And I get on the treadmill and I'm going to go full force. Well, I could not keep up with it. It literally slung me back, and I flung back off of the treadmill and fell right on my butt.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I couldn't get up. That was the funniest part. The funniest part, I could not get up off the floor.
You're saying the funniest part. Were you laughing in that moment?
I mean, now I'm laughing.
Right.
Still laughing then.
Right. Okay.
I was not laughing then. Right. So it's funny now, but not then.
Okay.
So the workers come over. They're all trying to pick me up. It was the craziest thing. And so they're like, you have to start a little bit slower. You're not going to lose this weight in 5 minutes, right? So, I was so embarrassed. I got back on, and there I am, literally just walking for about 5 minutes. And after the walk of 5 minutes, I was totally out of breath. I said, this is it. I can't do it. I can't do anymore. That was my first experience.
Was that, you're saying you only walked for about 5 minutes. And so, for me, that's hard to understand because of my lifestyle and where I've been. Explain a little bit about that to us, in that walking for 5 minutes was challenging. So did you not walk before that? What was your lifestyle so we spoke about the food wise of eating and overeating and indulging. But what was the active part of your life like?
There was not one active piece of my life. I would literally come home, I would sit down and grade papers, do lessons for the next day. I would cook and then do the dishes afterwards. That was my extent of exercise.
Wow.
I did absolutely nothing. So you can see how these pounds just started to
Right, your metabolism wasn't moving, nothing was happening.
nothing.
Okay.
Completely shut down. So literally, when I tell you walking up a few stairs in the school was very difficult for me. There were many times I took the elevator and not do the stairs. So for 5 minutes on a treadmill, I was totally out of breath. I'm like,
Okay.
oh wow, I totally can't do this. But then, that mindset kicked in and said, no, you can do this. Do 5 minutes every day and see what happens. Maybe at the end of the week, you can do 10 minutes. So in my mindset, I knew that I was in this for the long haul. This was not going to be a diet. In 2 months, I'm going to lose 60 pounds. I knew that this was going to take time. And once that mindset kicked in, that I knew this was it took me a long time to get where I was at 252 pounds. Now it's going to take me a long time to undo this. So literally, I went into the gym almost every day for the first 3 weeks for a month. And so by the time the end of the week came, I was on the treadmill for about 15 minutes the first week. And I felt okay. I knew that was my limit, but I'm okay. But that's all I could do. I couldn't do anything else. I couldn't do the weights. I couldn't do, the elliptical. I couldn't do the bicycle, or I just did the treadmill. That was it, just the cardio. And then a little at a time, day by day, I just started to add one more machine. Even if it was just for 2 or 3 minutes, I just added one more machine. And now here, almost 2 years later, I'm in the gym 3 to 4 times a week, an hour and a half to 2 hours each time, doing probably every machine that's there in the gym. And it's amazing how when you put your mind to something that this is what you want to do, it's just amazing what you can accomplish. And my goal is to motivate people, especially I'm now 59 years old. And, I'm a grandmother, and I know if I can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah.
I'm just positive.
Tell us about your support system, because I remember you sharing a story, and it was very vivid in that, you guys went to a restaurant and everybody's ordering and everybody's used to you ordering certain foods, but that was it. You kind of laid down what you're going to eat, and you're going to share that part of it, but everyone around you supported you in what you were doing. And I thought that was, just beautiful. And you shared it from a family, but also from the kids that you teach. So I'd love if you could share some more about that with us.
Absolutely. So the day that I decided that this was going to be the first day the rest of my life, the April 12th of 2021, actually it was 2021 because it's almost 2022, I'm sorry.
2022, yep.
We're in 24. That day we went to an Italian restaurant, of course.
Of course. Probably your favorite restaurant too, right?
My favorite restaurant, right? It was beautiful. Like the setting was gorgeous. The boats were out there, on the water.
And this is Easter, right?
This was Easter Sunday.
Which for our audience members, there are some high holy holidays in every religion and every culture. In the Italian, of course, we have Christmas, but Easter is a big one. And it is, I remember Easter dinners. My father would make all sorts of food. My grandmother would make all sorts of food, and, the lamb and the rabbit and all these different types of dishes. And they're all coming out in the same day, and you're at the table for hours. This is big, and not to count all the cookies and all the different things afterwards that you're having. So this is part of our culture, which you spoke about earlier, is a holiday where starting a diet is certainly challenging.
Very challenging. And there were probably, I think maybe there were about 10 of us there at the table. And, the waiter's going around and they came to me the last, and they're expecting me to order some, pasta dish with some shrimp scampi and appetizers and all of that. And I said I will have a grilled salmon with steamed vegetables. When I tell you that you could hear a pin drop at the table, it was so quiet. And then my daughter was like, "Oh, that's interesting. That's a different order. You're not having pasta?" And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, and that's when I made the announcement. And I said, "You know what? We were on the beach today and, I'm looking around. Everybody's enjoying themselves in bathing suits and having a wonderful time. And here I am sitting under an umbrella, fully clothed, sweating profusely because I don't want anybody to see what I look like." I said, "This is the first day of the rest of my life." And that's when I made the announcement to my family. And they were very supportive right from the go. They were like, "Wow, okay, we want to see that you're going to follow through with this. We've seen you do this before." But they were there and they were very supportive. And I have to share this with you. Every week that I would get on the scale, so every Saturday morning I would get on the scale. And the first week I lost 10 pounds, literally lost 10 pounds. The second week I lost 7. And of course it started to dwindle from there. But I had a support group of my colleagues, of teachers. And so my fellow science teachers, I would, text them, I lost 10 pounds. And then, the encouragement started to roll in. And it was amazing how supportive I had. I had support system not only at home, but also at school. And, this over the summertime, I don't see them, but yet they were still being very supportive of me in my journey. And so they were like my cheerleaders, literally my cheerleaders. That September, we came back to school after I had started, this weight loss journey. And I had lost probably at that point about 45 or 50 pounds. And so I came back to school and one of my students, my new students for the new year, was wearing this beautiful sweater. And I loved the sweater that she was wearing. And, they all noticed how much weight and all the encouragement from the kids were like, "Miss Szalay, you've lost so much weight. My goodness, you look wonderful." And I said, seeing this sweater that she was wearing, I complimented her on it. And I asked her, "Where did you get that sweater?" And she was like, "You can't buy that sweater in the store." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "Because I modeled for a designer. I'm a model. I modeled for a designer in a fashion show a few weeks ago, and he gave me the sweater." And I said, "Oh, you model?" And, I started asking her questions. And I said, "This was something I've always wanted to do, but could never, ever, ever even think of modeling." And she said to me, "You know what?" She said, "You lost so much weight. You look amazing. I want you to meet my agent." And she connected me with her agent. And sure enough, we had a meeting. I met with the entire staff. And I signed a couple days later, I signed a contract with them. And it has been an amazing journey, since then, for modeling. It's been amazing.
We're going to speak.
To rewind.
Yeah, Go ahead, rewind.
I was just going to rewind for a moment. I wanted to go back and, to mentioning that I did see, a gastric physician to have that surgery. And she had said, "Listen, I need you to lose about 20 pounds before we can do the surgery, just to make things a little bit easier on you, because you're at a weight that's very, very dangerous."
Dangerous, yeah.
Very dangerous. And that's when I said, "I don't even know if I could do this, but I'm going to try. I really am. I'm really going to try." And so at that point, I had seen the doctor that September, where I had lost the 40 pounds already. And she's like, "Listen, I cannot do the surgery on you. You're losing the weight on your own. You have to do this on your own." So for a surgeon who just gave up a lot of money for surgery, said to me, you don't need to do this. You're going to do this on your own." And I was just like, "Okay, I'm going to try it." And to this date, I lost 105 pounds.
Without the surgery. That's so cool. And what, I ask about the support system because it's so important, when you're on, a path like this, and you have so many challenges to overcome from old habits and cultural norms that you're breaking. And then, of course, as you just mentioned, in terms of lifestyle of your activity, from not having much activity to then adding activity. A couple things I want to mention here. In terms of your physical activity for everyone, in that we talk about habit stacking here on the show. We talk about it in the entrepreneurial space and the different ways we can add new habits and better habits in our life. And you mentioned it in terms of your physical fitness, and that you did 5 minutes one day, then you added to 15 minutes, then you added a machine, then you added another machine. And this is essentially habit stacking. By creating the habit to go to your local gym is one habit, then expanding on it by getting on the treadmill, expanding on it by going to a different machine, to the point where you were there for maybe 15 minutes the first day, to where now you said you're there for an hour or more now, because now you probably also have a community there in a social setting, as I know about the gym. And so this is all habit stacking, and it applies to our lives in so many ways. And for you, it was tremendous. The other reason why I want to bring up the support system is because I had the pleasure of meeting your husband, who, I'm sure I could just tell by your relationship that when I met you guys, it didn't bother him one way or another what you looked like or where you were at. But his smile was ear to ear when I met him, and it really lightens up when you talk about your health and being a healthier person. And you spoke, and we're going to speak about this today, a lot about that, about your health. Before we get into the health side of things, which we will, I want to speak a little bit more on the modeling that you kind of just brought up now. And the reason for that is because part of you signing with this agent is it led you to so many different opportunities, and one of which was being on or being highlighted or centerfold in a magazine, a local magazine. Could you share more about that with us?
Absolutely. So the journey really began at a fashion show last February, and a local newspaper had came to do a story on me and my weight loss and how I became a model, an actress. Just at my age, and he was just like flabbergasted that that this is really happening to a grandmother who, she lost all this weight and is, coming out into to this new career. And so they did a 2-page article, not only online, but in the actual newspaper. They also did a video of me as well. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. So from that one newspaper article, I had First for Women magazine reach out to me. They also wanted to do an article on my weight loss and share, my tips and what I did to help stay motivated to lose this weight. And that article came out in May of 2023. That was last year. And it's been a wonderful journey, just meeting people too, just connecting and networking with new people. It's just amazing. And I just had a wonderful time just, explaining what I did, where my mindset was, and what my goals are. And like I said, I just met so many wonderful people along the way. It's been awesome. And from there, I just recently, in the October 12th issue of 2023, was on the cover of Women's World magazine. And they also did a 2-page spread on my weight loss journey. And if anything, my goal is really to help motivate people that it doesn't matter where you are in terms of your age, in terms of your weight. You can do whatever you want at any given time. Like, you can just say, this is it. I'm going to change my life I want to be healthier. And so that's the main goal here, is to help motivate people to do what they want to do, because life is short. And, it's never, I feel like it's never too late to just change your life right then and there, whenever you want, right there.
Yeah.
That's what I did. It was just that one day I said, I'm changing my life. This is it. And I did it.
That's incredible. And I know you have the magazines with you. So for our audio listeners, of course, you're not going to be able to see this, but you could always go to my YouTube channel and you'll be able to see them. But can you show them do you have them in front of you there?
Yeah,
Let
absolutely.
me see.
So this is the First for Women magazine.
Right. The First for Women magazine. And there's links in your Instagram profile, which will be all in the show notes here, that you can see it. So that's pretty cool.
Yes. So this was the first magazine. And then the Women's World magazine, I'm on with Carney Wilson. I'm here right in
Yes.
the corner. You could see me.
Yep.
And here I am
And it's got the before and after.
in the before and after. Yeah. So you can see that before
Incredible. Yes,
bottom.
incredible. And so, and for our audio listeners here, of course, you can see the magazines like I just mentioned, but the reason why I wanted you to show that is because I remember seeing it, and the difference in your body language in those pictures. So when you see the picture of you, the before, you're slunched over, you're kind of like half smiling. It's like, I don't even think we see your teeth in that smile, right?
I don't think so.
Right. Just slunched over. And as you said, you were, in that dark place. And then the now picture, or then picture, because it's a few months ago, of you just standing upright, shoulders back, hands on your hips, just this smile, just ear to ear, and you're still keeping up with it, and that's just so cool and so beautiful to see. Going back to the health side of things, so part of why you share this story is to inspire people to live healthier lives. And for you, it's about living a healthy life, to see your granddaughter get married one day and just live her life as well. And so you have this really great philosophy of weight loss and this journey for you, and you're trying to inspire others. Part of this journey has also helped you with other things that have happened from a health perspective. You mentioned your thyroid, but you also had a stroke. Could you share a little bit about that with us?
Absolutely. So it's a year ago this month, January 27th to be exact. I was in school when it had happened, and it happened in front of my students. So I was speaking with another colleague, and just going about, the bell rang. My students were lined up, to go into class. And I turned around, and literally my left eye went completely blank. It was complete. I couldn't see. I lost my vision in my left eye. It was like a white, sparkly curtain that kind of just, I couldn't see. And I just said, out loud, I can't see. Something just happened. So my colleague thought, oh, maybe you got something in your eye. And I said, no, this is something different. I really can't see. And so one of my students grabbed me, brought me to the nurse. Literally, we went downstairs, we went to the nurse. I couldn't see walking down the stairs. Literally, I had to hold on to the railing. Right away, they called the police, they called the ambulance. Thank goodness the hospital where I work is right across the street. And so they at first thought I had an ocular migraine. And I said, well, I've never had that before. And they said, well, sometimes it happens. But then when they started to dig a little bit more, I went and I had the CAT scan done. And then they did the MRI. And sure enough, they could see the spot in the back of my lower right-hand lobe of my brain. And the neurologist came in and said, you had a stroke. And I was like, what? Like, I just lost all this weight. And she said, and thank goodness you did.
Mm.
And to be exact, my eyes started to come back. The eyesight started to come back. It was within 24 hours, the eyesight came back completely. And they were just amazed that it came back so quickly. And when they started to hear the history of me losing weight and getting healthier, she said to me, she's like, this is what saved your life. Literally. Because if you were that 252 pounds, unhealthy, she said, I can't guarantee that you get your eyesight back or something worse would happen. But the outcome would not have been the same. And so I was literally just taken back. And this was a year ago now this month. And everything, thank goodness, everything is good. But my health is what saved me. Literally. Losing the weight and being healthy.
Yeah, because that would have happened either way as what you were describing there.
And the stroke, by the way, is because a lot of people say, oh my goodness, you lost all this weight and you had a stroke, because it was a residual of the heavy weight that I had, the high cholesterol. All of those residuals is what compounded, causing that to happen. So, and that's why she said that the way you healed, like getting your eyesight back, she said there was no guarantee that I was going to have my eyesight back, but thank goodness it did. It came back. She said the outcome could have been a lot worse.
So a lot of those health things, like you mentioned, the cholesterol and everything, that actually is what was part of the cause to the stroke then.
Correct. Absolutely.
Right. And so therefore, obviously, if that you still had the high cholesterol and all that, it would have just made it worse.
Absolutely. It would have compounded everything. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So we're grateful that you're here with us, and how true to your journey, right? How true to what you said of like, I want to live a longer life. And
exactly.
I mean,
and it was, what's interesting is I had the stroke. I was in the hospital. I was discharged. They had, taken my license away from me because I had to, go through all the vision testing and the field testing, which was fine. But 3 weeks later was when I did that fashion show and the newspaper came to do that big article. So, I just feel like it was meant to happen, that I'm supposed to be on that fashion show. And I was determined that I was going to walk in that fashion show.
Tell us about the feelings that you had when you made the public announcement. You mentioned the feelings prior to that of the dark place. And of course, we see how you feel today. You're vibrant, you have high energy, you're smiling, you're happy. What were the feelings that you had when you were making this announcement to the table, to your family, to the people around you?
It was a feeling of determination, a feeling of motivation, and a feeling of I've taken control of my life. Because I felt like I was out of control. Literally, I was out of control with the way I was eating, the lack of exercise, not taking care of myself, taking the vitamins and supplements and the protein shake that I do now for almost 2 years. And it's just an amazing feeling. Like it really was. I felt control for the first time, probably ever, that I really felt control. I took control of my life. Like I felt in control.
And so you just mentioned the protein shakes, the vitamins, and I know you're also a great cook. So in taking this control, you also started changing your dietary habits. We talked about the gym, and we know that you still continue to do that, but you have a passion for making healthy, tasty meals. And so I'd love to hear about this passion and how it started. Obviously, it was part of this journey. How it started, where you started learning about the new foods and the ways to cook them.
Right, absolutely. And so when I started, looking up these different recipes, or, if I went out to eat, I would make healthy choices. I would ask for grilled or steamed, or, ask for no butter, just maybe a little bit of olive oil, as opposed to, or instead of salad dressing, how they pour the salad dressing on your salad. I always say put it on the side, and just kind of like dip the salad into the dressing. So there are different ways and different tips of making those slight changes that make a huge difference in the amount of fat that you're intaking, the amount of calories that you're intaking as well. And so I just decided that when I'm cooking, I'm going to cook grilled, steamed, baked. Instead of using salt, I'll use like a salt substitute, like a Mrs. Dash, for example. That it has all the herbs and the seasonings, but it doesn't have all of that salt. So this is my way of life now. This is how I cook, and it's very tasty. It's not like I miss any of the heavy sauces or the heavy the heavy foods. I just and in moderation. Like I'll have some pasta, but I'll have maybe a tomato or lentil based pasta as opposed to regular. And then it's a side dish. It's just a small portion. It's not like a big bowl.
It's not the meal.
It's not the meal. Exactly. It's just a side dish. And same like with rice or potatoes or even bread. In moderation, I just put it on the side now. It's just in smaller portions. And
you remind me of a funny story with my father that I have to share with you that I think you'll appreciate. My father was trying to lose some weight. My parents, they're foodies and they enjoy a nice meal. I would say that they're over the weight that they should be, but they're in a place where they're not considered, I guess, overweight, right? So anyway, so he's trying to lose some weight. This is going back a couple years ago, and he's the Italian side, so he's the Italian one, and he's the one in my life where every night of the week he needed to have pasta. He needs to have pasta every night of the week. He's 75 now, and every night of the week, I mean, every once in a while, but every night of the week he's got to have his bowl of pasta. It's the way he grew up, and it's the way he continues to live his life, and of course the Italian bread. And so he'll go to Little Italy in the Bronx and get his bread, and and all different things. And now he makes his own bread. So this is big for him, right? So anyway, so he's on this diet. He starts telling me about it. He goes, "Yeah, Michael, I cut out carbs. I cut out I don't eat bread anymore. I don't do any of that stuff." And I said, "Oh, really?" And now of course I have this sarcastic line of questioning coming his way, right? So I said, "All right, Papa." I said, "So you don't eat bread anymore?" He goes, "No, Michael, I'm telling you right now, it's a new lifestyle change. I don't eat bread anymore." I said, "All right." I said, "So what are you having for breakfast?" He goes, "Just having an egg. Just having an egg." I go, "Oh, okay, all right. So you're having an egg." I said, "How you cook the egg, Papa?" He goes, "Well, I make it sunny side up." I go, "Oh, sunny side up." I said, "So what happens with the yolk? That beautiful yellow runny yolk that's there?" I go, "What do you do with that?" He goes, "Well, I just get a little piece of bread and, I scoop it up." I said, "Oh, okay. All right. Just a little piece." He goes, "Just a little piece, Michael, but I'm not having I'm not having a bunch of bread or anything, just a little piece of bread." I said, "Oh, okay. No worries." I said, so what are you having for lunch?" I go, lunch is, staple in your day, of course, right? He goes, "Oh, I'm on this diet now, so I'm only having a bowl of soup. I'm having just a bowl of soup for lunch." I'm telling you, this is like a comedy routine, right? He's like, "I'm just having a bowl of soup." I said, "Oh, okay, what kind of soup you getting?" And he tells me all these different soups. I said, "So, the soup always leaves that little cream behind, a little bit of left in the bowl." I go, "So you're just throwing that out? You're just getting rid of that?" And he goes, "Well, I get a little piece of bread and I scoop it all up." I go, "All right, okay." I said, so what are you having for dinner?" He goes, Michael, only grilled food. We're having, grilled salmon. Your mother's making some grilled salmon for me. I'm only having vegetables. That's all I'm having." I go, "That's all you're having, really?" I go, so nothing else? No bread? I'm not having any bread with dinner. We're having all grilled." I go, "Okay." He goes, "Just a little bit of pasta." I go, "What?" I go, "What?" He goes, just a little bowl of pasta on the side." I go, "All right. So you're having bread in the morning, bread in the afternoon. You're having I go, "What kind of diet is this?"
This is a carb diet.
But in all fairness to him, I make a joke about all this. In all fairness, what he was talking about was he was cutting back. He was cutting back on it all. He wasn't having the full 2 slices of toast in the morning, the sandwich in the afternoon, the full pasta dinner. It was a little bowl on the side. And so you just reminded me of that funny story.
That is funny. Just a little bit.
just a little bit, Michael. It's hard to break those cultural habits.
It is super hard. And, I kind of just went cold turkey and I just said, I'm cutting all of it out because I know me, I won't be able just to have a little bit. I'm not in that place right now to have just a little bit. So when I just revamped everything, I just cut everything out. Now I started, introducing it back into my diet. But in moderation. And, it's amazing how we are some of us are emotional eaters. I'm an emotional eater.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to say I was an emotional eater.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
That's past tense, but anything that I was stressed, I would eat, comfort foods, just to make me feel better. And I'm like, no, this is not right. This is not how it goes. You want to feel better? Go to the gym. So that's what I would say to myself, right? And that's what I would do. I would go to the gym, and sure enough, I would walk out feeling great. And this is just the way I live now. And like I said, and when I go out, I can go out to eat. I make better choices, about what I'm eating.
Share with us a little bit about the going the extreme to where you can come back to, because I think that there's a lot in that, in the story that I just shared about my father, because he didn't really go the full, it really never took, right? And similar to some of the diets. And so I feel, and I want to hear your take on this, and it sounds like we're on the same page here, that sometimes you do have to go to that extreme in order to really let it resonate. And then you could always kind of dial it back.
Right, exactly. And so whenever I went on a diet, I would never get past the first month. Like I would always be gung ho, like, okay, I'm going to go I'll try to exercise a little bit here. I'm going to just cut back on the little pasta. But then we have a family gathering and all this food is out. I'm like, oh,
a cheat day, right? You go to, I'll have a little cheat day. Yeah,
exactly. I'm going to have one cheat day. Well, one cheat day turned into everyday cheat day. And, after that first month, it just didn't work. But then this time around, when I passed the first month and I passed the second month and I passed the third month, and I'm like, wow, this is super easy. Like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And, I like I said, I want to motivate others to do the same thing, do what I did. It's not overnight. It's a it's a life changer. Lifestyle change, mindset change, but once it's changed forever.
Yeah. You mentioned that when you were an emotional eater, and I love how you put that in the past tense. I always reference old Michael. I actually was just talking to my coach recently, and I said, I think we're up to Michael 5.0 from my self-awareness stage. It's probably way more than that, but from the self-awareness, we're at Michael 5.0, and I look at 4.0, and I'm just like, all right, man, this is we got to grow from there, right? And there's still so many more to come. So I love that you put that in the past tense. And it speaks to what you were sharing before, which was you were not in control, and your emotions were in control, and they were why you were eating. And now you're in control, and so you're able to make that decision not to eat. And you just mentioned go to the gym. What are some other ways that you handle stress and anxiety and your emotions today rather than eating?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mindfulness is a huge part of my new healthy lifestyle. I listen every night to the Daily Calm, which is free on YouTube. There's different themes, like one is letting go, one is being present. I do find and it's 10 minutes long. That's all it is. It's a video of 10 minutes. Listening to that and just kind of relaxing right before bed. The amazing sleep that I get every night is amazing. So mindfulness is definitely something that is incorporated in, and I think it has to be incorporated in everybody's life. Because that is a great way to relieve stress and anxiety. And the gym, going to the gym releases those endorphins that makes you feel really good. Even if it's just for a half hour, twice a week, just to get started. the gym is amazing. Some form of exercise is going to get, like I said, release those endorphins and make you feel good about yourself. And then when you walk out the door, that stress and anxiety is gone. It's gone. I love to listen to music while I'm there, so music is amazing too.
Going back to the gym, because anybody who is currently in a position that you were in back when you were wearing that big sweatshirt and sweatpants and had that incident with the treadmill, I'd imagine that it's a scary place to enter. It's an intimidating place to enter. Although the gym that you go to touts judgment-free zone,
Exactly.
we can't change the way that people think and the way people perceive
Right.
others. And so there is judgment involved. What's your, you mentioned that part of why you share your story is to inspire others. What's your message for people that are feeling, that judgment, feeling that sense of fear, and maybe have an embarrassing story of their own that kind of has stopped them in their tracks?
Yeah, absolutely. When I was feeling that way, I thought that feeling would never, ever go away. I just thought that it was something that I was going to live with for the rest of my life. And if you're feeling that way now, it's not. You can change that feeling. You just right then and there, just say, no, I'm going to change my life now. This is how I'm going to do it. And don't feel embarrassed. Just go out there and do it. And you know what? Feel confident about yourself, because you're a beautiful person and everyone is an individual. And we are all, here for a purpose. And so you need to seek out your purpose. What is your purpose in life? What are you supposed to be doing? And so I know what my purpose is. I know what my goal is. I know what I want to do. Eventually I would love to host my own show to help others, to just get them motivated, to get them healthy. So hopefully, and now I have a new agent, an exclusive agent, and so hopefully, that'd be something that we could be working on at some point. But definitely, you can change your life right now, and this is what I did, almost 2 years ago, and I don't regret it. I never look back, and so. Even though it took time for that weight to come off, and people started to notice, especially my colleagues at work, there's a confidence that spills out, that if you look at that picture, there's a lack of confidence in that picture. And so you have to start somewhere. And that starting point is just keep on going. Just look at the end results, look at the end goal, and just work towards it. And it'll happen.
Yeah, Stephen Covey talks about it in the 7 Habits of having the end in mind, seeing the end in mind. And so many times, in coaching, that's what I work on with my clients as well. It's like, what is the goal? And then let's kind of scale it back now. Let's work back from there. And then the other one I wanted to bring up while you were sharing all of that is Tony Robbins talks about change your story, change your life. When you change that story, like you just said, of, I'm no longer accepting this old story. I'm changing the story. You're going to change your life. On this topic, and you kind of just touched on it with your new agent, I want to get into the present moment with you on our journey of mindfulness. Let's get present right now. So you've shed over 100 pounds. You've been featured in magazines. You've done fashion shows. You've been on television. You have done commercials. You have, up until this point, had just an amazing story happening, unfolding in front of our eyes. And then when I met you, you were on the hush. This was pretty cool because you had something that was in the works and you couldn't share with everyone, but you just shared a little bit about it. You were in the process of signing with an exclusive agent. Share with us today. Where are you today? Where are you in the fitness and in your dietary and in your career?
Absolutely. So currently I did sign with an exclusive agent. I'm not sure if I could mention the name, but I'm going to mention it anyway. It's called Maltsby Talent. I love them. They're amazing people. They're so supportive. So this is just recent. I've been with them for about a month or so. But we have some really good plans, which I can't share right now, but we do have some stuff in the works for the near future. But in terms of my healthy lifestyle, I continue to go to the gym 3 to 4 times a week. I do a shake in the morning, a protein shake. And when I tell you I take out this big grocery bag filled with supplements and all great stuff that I put into this shake, it's just amazing. I use protein powder, MCT oil. Use pea powder, literally the yellow vegetable pea powder for protein. We throw some peanut butter in there also for extra protein. I put burdock root in there, milk thistle, which is a great liver cleanser. Take vitamin C every day, vitamin D. Elderberry now, especially this time of the year, when these colds are coming out. And ubiquinol, which is really great for the heart muscle. So there's a lot of vitamins and supplements that I take. There is a cost for it, but there's no cost that you can put on your life, right, to be healthy. And so the combination of eating healthy, taking the supplements and the protein shake that I do every day for almost 2 years now, has really contributed to the way I look and feel. Again, you just cannot put a price on it. It's just
and I think it's important to note that a lot of this is also because you've met with doctors and nutritionists about the diet that you have, because a diet for you and some of the supplements that you take is not the same for everyone else, and so it's definitely important for everybody to get it checked out. And another note to make is that when you mentioned there's a cost involved in supplements, what I'd share and I'd love for you to elaborate on is, while on the surface the healthy foods look or are more expensive, because you're eating healthier and because you're eating less and more in portion control of, you can only digest 20 grams of protein in an hour. So because you're having more portion control, you're feeding yourself the right nutrients, you're eating less. I mean, a candy bar at a store is like $3 and change. So, what we're doing is we're eliminating the bad, which is very costly. It's just not on the surface, right? Because you're buying one candy bar for $3, but maybe you're buying 3 of those throughout the day or 4 of those throughout the day, and you're at $10 already. And you insert any food that I'm talking about that is that impulse food, and they're anywhere between $3 and $5. And by the end of the day, you spent $20 on impulse food that did nothing towards your nutrition, that consciously you didn't even absorb as eating. And so you're then eating another meal, which you could put a price on that, right? So when we go back to your supplements and everything, if you divide that through the hours of the day and the months, we're almost either breaking even or maybe just a little bit more or just a little bit less, right? Exactly.
And then what are the, what are the results of eating those candy bars down the road? High cholesterol, high sugars,
medications.
Exactly. So, when you start looking at all of those things, it actually is cheaper to eat healthier.
Yes. And that's kind of where I'm going with it. I mean, I haven't done a profit and loss analysis on eating healthier versus not, but just based off of seeing what it costs to buy, when we're all at the checkout aisle, and I mean, we find your magazine at the checkout aisle, right? and right next to it are the candy bars. And like I said, I'm in shock when I see how much a candy bar is. I'm just like, what? Like, for that? Right? Like, seriously, people? Like, what are we doing?
So, and even if you feel like having a snack like potato chips, there are better choices. They have sweet potato chips instead of regular potato chips. There's different things that you could do to supplement, or to just to, if you feel like having a snack here and there.
Would you, I mean, I know I know that 2 years doesn't sound like what I'm going to say, but you're fairly new to the whole game, right? Because it's only 2 years, right? There's still so much more. But would you, and this is an open-ended question, I don't know, but would you think that eating, so like if someone's thinking, oh, let me just have the healthier choice of the sweet potato chips, do you think that leads them back down the path of falling off or anything?
I think everyone's an individual. For me, for example, I had to do a cold turkey and not have anything at all. I had to eliminate all of those foods, just because I knew, just from previous experience, that if I just one cheat day, or I just have a little bit of this turned into a lot of bit of that.
Right.
So for me, I couldn't do it. I had to start reintroducing when I felt that I was at a point where I could no longer, say, I'm not having a full bowl of pasta, or I'm not going to have the whole bag of potato chips, or, and then instead of having the potato chips, I would have a small portion of, the sweet potato chips or something.
It's when you're in control is what it sounds like.
And I'm in control. Yes.
Right.
When you're in control. So for me, it took me longer for me to feel like I was totally in control.
That's, I think one of the biggest pieces to all of this is like you said, is having that control, and that sense of control for all of this, I think is just phenomenal. And so you got this career going, you got this side hustle going, as it was written in the magazine, but it's really a career in entertainment, in fashion, and all these other things. You mentioned wanting a show. What do you see for yourself as a show? What would it look like for you? What's your vision of it?
I would say my show would probably be a motivating type show. People who want to change their lives, and to provide the resources for those people to be able to change their lives in a wonderful, healthy way. And so that's what I envision the show to look like.
I love that. And you have a mantra that you live by, and you shared it a few times here. And I think it's your mantra that you created and wrote yourself, which is, it's never too late. You are never too old to do anything you want to do.
Exactly. That is my mantra, because if I did it at the age of 57 at the time, I'm 59 now. Anybody can do it. If I know if I can do it, anyone can do it. And you can just right now, as you're listening to this podcast, if somebody really wants to change their life, they can do it right now, here and there. Just say, I want to change my life, and I'm going to look into how I'm going to change my life, and take your life back, and be in control of your life. We only have one life to live, so let's make it a good one. And, I knew eventually I would become 59, but did I want to become 59 at 252 pounds, or did I want to become 59 at 147 pounds? That's the difference.
And what's really cool too, I know there's a Netflix show right now, which is pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen it. I can't think of the name of it right now, but what they did is they've taken set groups of twins because of their DNA. Because they have the same DNA. They've taken these different groups of twins and have put them through different types of fitness experiments and nutritional experiments, all in the sense of trying to figure out, how does a vegan diet affect someone? How does a carnivore diet affect someone? How does doing this much cardio affect? How does not doing this much? And so they have these groups of twins, and they're assigning them different things. And the reason why I bring this up is because part of the study that they're showing and the research that they're doing is that while we have this age of 59 years old, is that we can reverse our age through fitness and through nutrition. Have you read up on any of this these studies?
Absolutely. And skincare, definitely skincare, because I use collagen. As we get older, the elasticity in our skin, starts to dwindle. And so replacing that collagen makes a huge difference. And when I tell people that I'm 59, they're like, what? They look at me like, what? And if you look at my picture before, and if you look at me now, you
look younger now.
A lot younger now
yes.
than I did when I was, here not taking care of myself. So yeah, there's definitely some truth to that.
Yep. Yep. So tell me, what is your daughter and your family saying today?
Well, I get a lot of when my daughter and I go out, because my daughter's 40. And so when we go out, we're like, oh, is that your sister? I didn't know you had a sister. It's like, no, I'm her mom. They're like, what?
How do you feel when they say that?
I feel great. She feels horrible.
She feels proud. She feels proud. Come on. She
does.
She definitely feels proud.
Like, oh, here we go again.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So I know that you're on a mission to help, support, and inspire others in their weight loss journey. And you're doing this in so many different ways. You're sharing it in your community from a face-to-face. You're doing it through fashion where, you're a model at 59 years old. How inspiring, right? And you do it in different ways. I'd love if, of course, this will be in our show notes here, if you could share different ways that people can contact you, learn more about your story, and as I mentioned before, your Instagram page.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is PZalay01, and I'm going to spell that. So it's P as in Peter, SZALAY 01. That's my Instagram handle. So you could definitely reach out to me anytime. I answer questions all the time. I have new followers from the magazines, and they reach out to me about different things and different questions. And the one thing I am getting is that they all would love for me to do a cooking show on Instagram and show them how I make all of these healthy meals.
Yeah.
So that is something that I'm definitely working on as well.
Awesome. Yes, yes. And if you go to her Instagram, you might see me there because Paulette, myself, and Michelle Barone all did a podcast together on Michelle's podcast, which was also a really great experience and really cool. So we had a lot of fun together. It's been so wonderful having you on today. Like I said, from the moment I met you, I knew that there was a spark and energy between us, and then, of course, a story for you to share with my audience. And it truly is inspiring. I think that your story inspires us in, of course, our life, our healthy life, to live a healthier life. But it also inspires us to live a better life. And I think that is the best message out of all of this, is to just live a better life. It's your health and everything that by improving that, the relationships like with your granddaughter and with all that's happening with you with modeling and acting and your students and how supportive and it's just like everything opened up for you, and it's such an inspiration. I want to thank you so much for sharing all of that with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed being here and sharing my story with your viewers and your listeners.
Thank you for listening to The Michael Esposito Show. For show notes, video clips, and more episodes, go to michaelespositoinc.com/podcast. Thank you again to our sponsor, Den 10 Insurance Services, helping businesses get the right insurance for all their insurance needs. Visit den10.io to get a quote. That's DENTEN.io. And remember, when you buy an insurance policy from Den10, you're giving back on a global scale. This episode was produced by Uncle Mike at the iHeart Studios in Poughkeepsie. Special thanks to Lara Rodrian for the opportunity and my team at Michael Esposito Inc.